Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be your one-stop shop for everything crypto related. And today we have another market analysis and breakdown because the markets are pretty green across the board. We're seeing around a 3 to 5% return on most cryptocurrencies. And there are a few outliers out there that are around 10+%. Things like Terra Luna, Avalanche, and Leo are certainly leading on the day, but there is a lot of gains to go around as we're going to dive into in this video. A lot of news to talk about as well. We have more billionaires that are saying buy Bitcoin during the dip. I am doing this actively, and you should too if you want to make some returns on your money. Again, their words, not mine. We're going to dive into that, and also one of perhaps the greatest responses that I have ever seen for a wallet custodial service respond to a government after asking for some private information. We're going to go through this. This is single-handedly one of the greatest responses that I've ever seen. And I also want to dive into the chart and explain everything that is happening on here as well, because a couple of days ago we did see just a little bit of a sell-off in the price action of Bitcoin and really most cryptocurrencies, but there's something on the total too, which is the entire altcoin market cap chart that I think we have to take a look at in order to understand where the cryptocurrency market is going. So with that being said, let's just take a quick look over here. Bitcoin's up around 2% on the day. Ethereum's up about 2.5%. BNB's up 3%. And a common trend that you'll notice is that the lower in market cap that we get over here, you'll start to see things get a little bit more volatile towards both the up and the downside. That is just because the total market cap of these cryptocurrencies are going to go down, so a less amount of money is going to be able to impact them more extremely. So while things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB are only up around 2 to, I'd say like 2 to 3%, we have over here, once we start getting into the market caps that are below 20, we're going to start seeing more commonly things that are up 6%, 8%, 5%, etc. But across the board, I think everyone can be happy in this, that the market is green. Now let's just talk about this NFT craziness that we're going on right now. Because as of right now, 2/3 of US freelancers have already told Fiverr that they're servicing the NFT industry. Now think about that for a second. 2/3, nearly 67% of freelancers on Fiverr are saying that they're servicing the NFT industry in one way or another, which is incredible. That should go and show volumes for how big this industry is growing. Number one, if 2/3 of the industry is servicing the NFTs, there's probably not enough people out there that can do this and service this. So what this tells me is that there's probably a need for more kinds of freelancers who can do this work on a daily basis. It's clear that the industry is big enough and people are willing to pay money for it. So if you're an entrepreneur, keep your eyes out in that sector because clearly NFTs are growing. It will not always grow forever, but at the moment, there is a lot of demand for these products. Also, with Mexico's third richest billionaire saying, buy Bitcoin, forget about selling, you'll thank me later. Now, this comes out of a report from the third richest billionaire in Mexico. I believe his name is Ricardo Pliego. If I pronounce that wrong, forgive me. I am horrible with pronunciation. But he has been buying Bitcoin, and despite the dips, he is continuing to buy Bitcoin. Why? Because it has long-term value, and I think we can all agree, or at least most of us should be able to agree, that eventually Bitcoin will surpass its previous all-time high, as will Ethereum and a lot of these other cryptocurrencies that we know and love. What we have to understand is that so often we zoom in like this, and we forget just kind of how the macro looks like. So we're looking at just a small 1 quarter, 2 quarter time scale, and we're saying, well, this looks really, really bad. The markets are down, but in reality, all markets are down. Stocks are getting absolutely crushed. I was reading a report yesterday that was saying Cathie Wood's portfolio is down 50% from its all-time high. As is Bitcoin. I'm not actually sure if we want to measure this out. Bitcoin is down around that area as well. Bitcoin right now is down only 44%. So right now, Bitcoin is outperforming Ms. Cathie Woods. But the moral of the story here is that there's a reason why billionaires like Warren Buffett just investing in that crypto-friendly bank and dropping MasterCard and Visa, and why we now have another billionaire saying, I am actively buying crypto at this price, and adoption is coming in at this price. They could be choosing to do this at any time, but in reality, they are choosing to do this right down here. Why? Because it's at a value, it's at a discount. If there's any time to get in, it's not when it's at an all-time high, it's when things are down 44, 45, 50%, because they're getting it at a whole lot cheaper. Because if Bitcoin goes back to its all-time high, and we want to measure that, let's just say that he did the most of his buying between 30 and 40,000. If this goes back to an all-time high, he's making nearly 100% on his investment, which is why these billionaires are thinking differently than a lot of the market is. People are saying, how can I short? When should I sell? They're saying, how can I buy? And how can I find ways to buy? Now, I want to go back to this chart, excuse me, and talk about, I guess, exactly what's happening. Because what we have over here is we have, of course, the death cross happening. But one of the things I'm watching out for is, what's happening inside of this range. It's very, very clear, and I was talking about this on the Crypt Nation chat that we have, the private chat, about a week or so ago, is the real key area to watch here is what's happening in between this roughly 30% range between $45,000 and $35,000. This is a $10,000 range, and I want to zoom in on this. This is roughly a $10,000 range that represents around 30 to 31%. This is a big area where Bitcoin has just been bouncing between. We can see that it used it as resistance and then support and then resistance, and now we're seeing support. And maybe this breaks out and we see this ultimately break out to the upside. But this is an area to watch out for. If you're a bull, you want to see this resistance of $45,000 break. You want to see Bitcoin get above these moving averages. And if you're a bear, if you're a bear, you want to see support break around $35,000 as well, without just having the little bits of the wick action that we have seen in the past. Now, there's some really cool fundamental and historical analysis that goes into this. I talk about it a lot more on the Crypt Nation VIP, so if you want to be a part of that, check the links in the description down below. And it's basically where I go into all my technical analysis in a lot more detail, and I explain my more concentrated thoughts. But the second thing I want to show everyone, which is another thing that I released on Crypt Nation maybe 2 weeks ago, a week ago, is this total to altcoin market cap chart. This is something that has been consistently used over the course of time, and what we can see as I clean this up from all these arrows, this has been used for almost 12 to 13 months now. In fact, this has been used 6 times over the last 12 months, and that is something that we can see from all these arrows. Initially, we bounced at the beginning of February of 2021, only to see the one bounce, our second, our third, our fourth, our fifth, just at the beginning of January. And now guess where we are at right now on this 3-day time scale. We are bouncing off of this level once again. This is a very, very long trend line, and as we zoom out, I want everyone to kind of just take a look at this. We've also used a little bit of a resistance area. Now, we only have 2 touches on resistance, which isn't something that I'm too fond of. I would like to see at least 3 touches before I would say it's any kind of confirmed. But this is the macro of the altcoin market. And I think the altcoin market is more powerful and more leading than people give it credit for, especially when we're looking at stuff of what's happening over with NFTs and everything else and decentralized applications. The altcoin market is a powerful one. It's almost worth $1 trillion. It's been teetering on that line for the past couple of weeks. And that is a lot of influence, a lot of business, a lot of capital that goes into this. So keep that in mind. I really like to see where the altcoin market is headed, where there is support, and I like to see if that support correlates with what's happening on the Bitcoin chart as well. Now, I've already talked a couple of times about what's happening over in Canada. A little bit of a crazy situation with bank accounts being frozen. I know that Vitalik from Ethereum was just speaking out on this topic and saying it seems a little bit excessive to freeze everyone's bank accounts. And this is why the cryptocurrency industry was created, right? It was for when we lose faith in how the government wants and chooses to handle their money. We have an alternative option. We can use both, but there is an alternative option if we want it. Now, recently, Canada sanctioned, I believe it was like 32, 33 wallets, and they sent out letters to these wallet and these financial services telling them to freeze these wallets and not allow them to transact. And Nunchuck was one of the companies that received the letter. And when they were told to freeze and stop people's private and cold and soft wallets, this was their response. And it's incredible. It's incredibly funny. It's also incredible that they would stand up and say this. They said, "Dear Ontario Superior Court Justice, or Court of Justice, Nunchuck is a self-custodial wallet, collaborative multi-sig Bitcoin wallet. We are a software provider, not a custodial financial intermediary. Our software is free to use. It allows people to eliminate a single point of failures and store Bitcoin in the safest way possible while preserving privacy. We do not connect any user identification information beyond email addresses. We also do not hold any keys. Therefore, we cannot freeze our users' assets. We cannot prevent them from being moved, and we do not have knowledge of the existence, nature, value, and location of our users' assets. This is by design. Please look up how self-custody and private keys work. When the Canadian dollar becomes worthless, we will be here to serve you too. Sincerely, the Nunchuck team." So this has to be, and there's another screenshot that we'll look at in just a second here, but this has to be one of the funniest responses ever. Essentially, Canada's coming to them and saying, "Give us the private keys of these wallets," and them responding with, "You clearly don't understand how this works. We can't give you the private keys because the only people that have the private keys are the people who created the wallets." That's the entire point of this. So hopefully this was able to give you a laugh. I know it was able to give me one, especially the ending. But that is definitely something that I found interesting in the news, and just all the more reason that if you don't have a private wallet, I'm not talking about an exchange, a centralized exchange, I'm talking about a private cold wallet, soft wallet, hard wallet, something that is actually yours, that you and only you own the key to, it might be worth looking into one. Now, one of the final topics of the day, and I want to talk about some good news at the end here, but cryptocurrency's price has fallen despite the Ukraine crisis. I want to just kind of highlight this for a second because we really are, with so much fundamentally strong news coming out, we really are on the brink of one good news article away from cryptocurrency just flying and soaring. All it takes is for this Ukrainian thing to start getting wrapped up and some sort of peace to be seen on the horizon. And I truly do believe that the markets, both traditionals and cryptos, are going to rapidly turn around. That's really all it takes at this point. This is the only kind of bad, negative, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, any kind of analysis that I can see. The only negative one is the potential site of war over Ukraine. And I think if that gets tied up, or when that gets tied up, we are going to see a rapid recovery in the markets. So that's just my 2 cents on that. And of course, crypto companies are tempting the top talent away from big tech. And I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but crypto is just taking the talent away from top countries around the world, like Google and Facebook and Amazon, and a lot of these other big players in the market. Why? Because they're getting more freedom, they're getting more pay, and they're working towards something that, number one, they believe in, but number two, is they believe is going to be a big part of the future. And if you have the leaders in tech, the CEOs, the COOs, the CTOs, the lead developers, all leaving big tech to work in the blockchain, is probably a good indicator that they're saying, all right, from a technical standpoint, this is gonna be the future. Otherwise, they wouldn't leave their Fortune 100 company, Fortune 500 companies to go and work for cryptocurrency. At least that's the way that I see it. Now, the final thing I want everyone to check out here before we wrap up this video is that the funding for blockchain startups has soared 8-fold over the course of the last year, going from $3.1 billion in 2020 to $25.2 billion in 2021. I'm excited to see what these numbers look like at the end of 2022 and 2023 and so on and so forth. But cryptocurrency is clearly still progressing, as is blockchain technology, and it's good to see all of this. Now, finally, we have a really cool conference coming up. It's completely free to join. You just got to make sure that you sign up. A lot of us over here at Crypto 101 and Crypt Nation are going to be the hosts for this, including myself. I actually get to interview a lot of the leaders in the industry and talk to them about cryptocurrency and the metaverse and NFTs and Web3 and all these cool different topics about what they're doing and how they're involved in all of it. I highly recommend you guys all check it out. It's going to be a really cool conference. If you can't make it, I believe we're going to try to get recordings out to everyone as well, but it's something that you don't want to miss. So check out the link in the description. Again, it's free. Check that out as well. And there's a lot of really cool stuff coming. So that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. And if you did enjoy, hit that like button and hit that share button, as it really does help out with the algorithm and get this out to more people that need to hear stuff like this every single day. But again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.